as a swap out to say ice cream or some of the other frozen yogurts or dessert. But I'm going to show you how to make it just as food gasman. I love cottage cheese, and one of my favorite brands is Good Culture. You can get Good Culture in the dairy section by the other cottage cheese, and I love it because of its quality, its thickness, its texture. I also love it because it's really low carb. It's only about 1 gram of fat. So this bowl right here, we're looking at about 17 grams of protein, maybe about 4 or 5 grams of carbohydrates, and about 1.5 grams of fat. So this new natural cocoa syrup is a favorite of mine, and I love to put it over my cottage cheese with berries or just over berries. I also love, this is Skinny Syrup's agave and sweetener blend. They also have a coconut flavor if you like coconut. And then we also have powdered stevia and granulated stevia and liquid stevia that also comes in flavor. So if you just want to sweeten it, you can sweeten it with something like Sweet Leaf Sweet Drops. And they also have it in chocolate, they have it in coconut and caramel, but you can also use things like extract. So here I have caramel and cocoa extract. So if you wanted more of a caramel or a chocolate, you could make that flavor. You could do the same thing with berries, the same thing with lemon. I also have now pomegranate blueberry. So you can kind of flavor it your own way. If you have little Truvia or stevia packets, you can put that in as well. I personally like to use new natural syrups, either just regular or cocoa, and I like to make mine sometimes cocoa, caramel, butterscotch flavor by adding little extracts or other flavorings and syrups. Add and build on to your cottage cheese sundae. And so we're going to talk about fruit, okay? I love this fruit that you see in front of me, and you'll notice that most of the fruit you see here is low glycemic fruit, okay? So I have a bunch of berries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. I have some peaches, some cut up apples, I have some plums. You can do almost any type of fruit, but usually when you add a berry, it's lower glycemic, so it's going to be lower sugar. And berries and chocolate, berries and cream just make a really good sundae. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some raspberries to mine, okay? These raspberries and blackberries are very low carb. They're also high in fiber. You can eat a lot of berries for the same amount of carbs that you can only have a fraction of some other fruits that are higher glycemic, like watermelon and stuff like that. So already starting to look like a sundae here. So choose the fruit you like. If you want it to be more of a caramel and cinnamon, you can do that with apple or peaches or apricot. If you wanted to do berries and cream, berries and vanilla, you can do that. If you wanted to do chocolate and cherry, you could. If you wanted to do chocolate and strawberry, you could. Any way you would build a sundae, or think of like how you'd build a waffle or a brunch, do that to your cottage cheese sundae. I did berries, so let's move on to ways that we can top it with, okay? Dress a sundae. Are the toppings crunchy? Are they sweet? Do they have nuts in it? Let me walk you through some ways that you can dress up your cottage cheese sundae much like you would a traditional sundae, but a little more healthy. Let's start with like protein. Many of you have protein. Take a favorite flavored protein. For example, this one here is caramel. I particularly like caramel, caramels and cream, caramel and chocolate, caramel and vanilla. If you want to bump up the protein, you dust a little bit of this on top, or you can mix it in, and there you have caramel flavor. Another way is to add nuts. So another way to get your crunch in is nuts. I have here some shaved almonds. I have some walnuts. You can buy them diced. You can just crumble it on top so you have some crunch, you have some healthy fats, still really low carb. And then you can do some really healthful cereal, some whole grain, sprouted grain cereal. So yes, you can add a little bit of that on top. One of my favorite crunches is Ezekiel cereal. I love this, okay? Really low in sugar. As a matter of fact, it has 0 sugar, okay? But it's a sprouted grain. And if you're gonna do grain, do something like a Food for Life Ezekiel cereal. Another thing is you can do cacao powder, or you can do cocoa powder, okay? So cacao is a superfood. It's also really natural. It's raw and unprocessed, so I recommend cacao in drinks and desserts, but definitely if you want to dust it on top of something like strawberries or raspberries or something like that. Also, if you're a coconut fan, unsweetened coconut chips or even sweetened coconut flakes, okay? So that's a good way to get the crunch. It's also relatively healthy. You can do stuff like flavored chia seeds. So here's a vanilla. Here's actually caramel vanilla chia flax blend. You can do stuff like almond butter. You can even do stuff like, you like peanut butter. You can do powdered peanut butter and you can sprinkle it on top, or you can mix it in. If you like cinnamon, do some cinnamon. If you like the whole caramel, cinnamon, pumpkin, you can do a pumpkin spice blend. And last but not least, my absolute favorite, I love the Chalk Zero brand. Chalk Zero is a brand that also has a line of syrups, but chocolates, all the way from milk chocolate all the way to 92% dark. My favorite is 70, and they come in individually wrapped packages. And the best part is that they're one net carb. So I like chocolate chunks. I like dark chocolate chunks. And so I like to top my sundae with dark chocolate that I don't have to worry about being sugary or really carb. So let's dress a cottage cheese sundae.
Now I'm ready. Action.
So it's time for me to dress a cottage cheese sundae. I've started off with berries. I love berries. Start off with raspberries. I also love shaved almonds, so I'm just going to top it with some almonds. Okay, and you can mix and match your nuts. You can mix and match your cereal, mix and match it all. There are no rules. However you want to dress this. Just keep in mind being cognizant of what you're putting onto it, just like what are you putting into your body. So what was my next thing? I really like Ezekiel crunchy cereal, so I'm going to put some of that on top. Look at that, it's already starting to look like really Instagram ready, and all we did was sprinkle. And last but not least is I love my Chalk Zero 1 carb chocolate, and so I'm going to put that on top. Okay, and I love chocolate syrup, so I'm going to take my New Naturals cocoa syrup and I'm going to drizzle the top. And there you have it. There is your food gap. You want berries, natural stevia sweetener, cocoa syrup, cinnamon, protein powder, cereals, nuts, coconut chips, anything you can think of that you'd probably put in a smoothie or that you top in a acai bowl with or something like that. Dress up your cottage cheese, make it a sundae. Okay. Tell me when to go.
I will. Go ahead.
Right, see how this tastes. It tastes a little too good to be true. I'm getting chocolate, cherry, crunch, sweet, soft, creamy, all in one. Can you imagine how many of these you can eat to get to the same calorie and carb count as ice cream? Like, have a Sunday party.
All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do it again.
Okay.
You ready? Try it. Do it again. Wait a little bit before you bring it in.
Okay.
Ready? Do it again. Let's look at that. What you looking at? All right, bring it back.
Okay.
One more time. I missed it. One more time.
How did you miss it?
Because I'm trying to look in this thing and I can just zoom in. Hold. All right, take it up. And do it again. Action.
Fit Chick Foodgasm here, guys, and today I'm going to show you how to snack and dessert a little differently, building your own Sunday cottage cheese. Can I do one more of those?
Action.
So cottage cheese. Stick with me here. I know it's not everyone's first choice as a go-to for dessert or snack, but you may not have dressed it this way. And I'm going to show you how to make it into your own Sunday. Foodgasmic opt-in choice, okay? So one of my favorite cottage cheese is the brand Good Culture. I love it because of its texture. I also love it because it only has a gram of fat. It's not runny, it's thick, it holds well together, and you can add a lot of stuff to it. You can find Good Culture at most grocery stores in the dairy section, and it really makes for a good healthy base, okay? Very, very low in carbs. So we're talking about 3 carbs per serving. You're usually gonna have a little more than a serving. So anywhere between 3 to like 7 carbs in just the base. We're talking about 14 to about 20 grams of protein and only 1 gram of fat per serving. So in this bowl right here, you probably are looking about maybe 2 grams of fat. That's that one. Let me see. Wait. Where am I looking?
Action.
Okay, so cottage cheese. Now stick with me. I know it's not everyone's favorite swap out or go-to for dessert or snacking. However, it's a really good way to build your Sunday and give you the same flavor and taste. Cottage cheese is one of my favorite, and one of my favorite brands is Good Culture. Good Culture you can find at almost any grocery store. I really like it because of its quality, because of its texture. It's not runny. I also like it because it's macronutrition, meaning for about a serving of Good Culture, it's only about 3 carbs. So if you're gonna have a little bit of a bowl like this, we're talking about maybe 6 carbs. It's really low in fat, gram of fat per serving, and about, now I have to do that again. I flubbed. So that's how you build your own healthy cottage cheese sundae. Make it your own, flavor and foodgasmic. And follow me on Facebook and Instagram for more foodgasms at Fit Chick Foodgasm.